Live. Okay, very good. Welcome, everyone. We are calling to order the regular meeting of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education for Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. May the record reflect that all board members are present except for Mr. Darrell Frazier and Mr. Tom Donnelly, who might be joining us later or might not. We're not sure. We're going to skip over 1.03, 1.04, and 1.05 because we are not adjourning to executive session tonight, and go right to 1.06. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this is a very exciting evening because we have 3 public comment sessions scheduled for tonight. The first is 1.07, which is the public hearing on the proposed code of conduct for 2024-2025. And that is specifically 5300.00 through 5300.75. Is there anyone who's here to speak specifically for the proposed code of conduct? Okay, seeing as there are none, we will close that public hearing and move on to 1.08, student report. And we have a new school year, so we have a new student reporter. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Talijah Davis. I'm a senior at Suffern High School. I've been in the Suffern School District since I was in 5th grade. A couple of the activities I do, I play basketball. I just started track this year. I'm in peer leadership, Heroes and Cool Kids. I'm the president of the History Honor Society. I do PR for the class of 2025, and I'm the treasurer for Operation Smile, so busy schedule. Last week Wednesday, school started, and although waking up so early was a struggle for some of us, I've heard and I've seen the excitement through the kids, like reuniting with their friends, like meeting their teachers, and personally I have a lot of good relationship with my teachers, so be able to reconnect with them this year has been great, with it being my last year. Juniors and seniors this week, Wednesday, tomorrow, there's a hack meeting, Heroes and Cool Kids meeting. Just a little reminder of what Heroes and Cool Kids is. It's an opportunity for juniors and seniors to go to the middle school and serve as a mentor to the middle schoolers, 8th graders and 6th graders, and give them more life advice, also like giving them advice about school and like the future, like as far as high school, and like, giving them tips and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about also the phone policy and like the reflection I've gotten from both teachers and students. Although it is an adjustment, I do think that it's been like really helpful in helping me focus. I mean, obviously I've been reaching, like my pockets and stuff, but I think it has actually helped me focus, and it's becoming more of a reflex to just go to the pouch and like put it in there. And I think I know teachers like it. And I think even though kids don't like to admit it, like I think it is helpful to them. College visits and guidance office has started in the hallway on the TVs all across in the school. There's a schedule of when colleges and their administration is coming to talk to the kids, and it's an opportunity for students in high school to go talk to the administrators from these colleges and find out more about the colleges and if they would be interested in them. This Saturday at 8 a.m. is there's going to be an ACT exam offered at the high school. The ACT, I believe, is the science exam. They're going to start selling home kits, and I've heard so much excitement, especially from my freshmen, because since I do a lot of stuff like with the freshmen and like having to do peer leadership and doing Here's Some Cool Kids, like I've become really close with them because like honestly, like they're my friends. So like I've heard so much feedback from them and that they're really excited for homecoming. Obviously, I'm excited for homecoming as well. And I signed the group, and the first workshop I heard will be more about icebreakers and introducing ourselves, because usually the first time in peer leadership, the first meeting, it's kind of cold and like the freshmen don't usually want to talk, but we're coming up with new ways to make it more engaging for both the freshmen and the seniors, who are both equally nervous, I feel. Next Thursday is Meet the Teacher Night at 7 p.m. at the high school, where parents have the opportunity to meet their children's teachers, but also offered this year before Meet the Teacher Night at 6:15, parents can meet the school counselors as well. From 6:15 to 7:15, parents can meet the counselors and honestly get more touch base with like their kids and like what they see their future to be. That would probably be good for like seniors and like juniors and like who are about to start the next stage in their life. And then Friday, September 20th, seniors will be meeting with counselors talking about after high school plans. So throughout the course of your throughout the course of high school, you get to meet with your counselor and they like talk to you about like your GPA and like what's to come this year. But for the 20th is specifically for seniors and like what their plans for after high school is, whether it be college, being in the workforce, doing with BOCES, is a way of connecting students with that. And I put a sports update. The volleyball team's currently 2-0. I love the volleyball team. I know soccer team had a game tonight. Hopefully they won. But yeah, that's all for to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Leisha. Really glad to hear the school year is off to a great start. And thank you to the contributions of all the students who are working to make it a great year. Moving on to 1.09, which is the minutes of the regular meeting of August 27th, 2024. Has everyone had an opportunity?
From Central. Our seniors have already been participating in some of their senior traditions. Our 6th and 7th graders are getting accustomed to the middle school and the high school, respectively. We have athletic competitions taking place around the district. Activities are starting to build. And we have announcements for the open swim at the pool at Suffern High School as well. If you're interested in going swimming at the pool, make sure you pop onto our athletics portion of our newly revised website as well. You can get all the details there. Of course, the big changes in our district this year really focus on the elementary schools. I want to thank Mr. Tom Donnelly and Daryl Frazier for being present at the middle school, Montebello and Sloatsburg, welcoming our eager children as they got off their school buses and out of their cars to enter their schools. It was really a day full of energy. And I have to tell you, walking the hallways of the 4 elementary schools, there is a lot of energy, a lot of positivity, a lot of excitement by not only the students, but of course, and especially the teachers and staff who are in the buildings. Our classes are achieving so many of the goals that we set forth already. Our classes are balanced. We have school-wide activities already taking place for the appropriate age groups that those students are in those buildings. The schools are really being tailored for those ages. We're seeing our teachers collaborating already. Already yesterday, we had an extended day for our elementary school teachers where they spent the entirety of that extended day on collaboration with one another. And if you recall, last year we talked about some schools only having, for example, 2 second grade teachers. Well, now each of the buildings have 6 or 7 second grade teachers. So they are truly collaborating in teams to build that consistency across the district. We are fully staffed. The students are making new friends, and all of the aspects of our plan are really already coming to fruition, but I expect and look forward to updating the board and the public with additional opportunities and news as we go through this school year. Of course, some of the challenges that we're facing, of no great surprise, is we have some hiccups with regards to transportation for our elementary schools. There are a handful of school routes, school bus routes that are having still issues. I would say that today is day 5. We had our best day yet with regards to timeliness, but I have to give tremendous acknowledgement to Dr. Castellane, Mr. Junior Barrage, the entire transportation team who are working earnestly to rectify issues when they're coming to our attention from parents, and as well as our principals. Our principals are also tweaking some of their dismissal procedures to create greater efficiencies. And we all have to be reminded of the fact that the majority of teachers in each of the elementary schools didn't work in that same element. So they're getting used to the buildings, the procedures for dismissal. Day by day, we are making improvements, and I want to thank our entire team for that. If I can ask our tech team just to pop up my slide here, I just want to close out by sharing some of the priorities that our administrative team and the Board of Education have worked on throughout the summer that I rolled out to our staff on our first day. This is a snippet of the school district priorities for the upcoming school year. We are continuing our focus on improving and enhancing the mental well-being of our students. And today we're going to get a bit more of a breakdown from Ms. Sarah Kern, who's our Director of School Counseling and Wellbeing, on the work that's being done in the district to really foster that sense of belonging for our students. A couple of the other major priorities that we have from a district perspective is improving our operations, specifically in the area of communications. We recognize that we need to continue to improve how we communicate. Folks may be seeing the Excelsior coming home with some great information about school contacts and information as we start off the school year. You should have also received information on our district emergency information guide, which breaks down in the event that we had an emergency, how parents should interact with the school district, what you can expect from us. So we are, I believe, doing a better job of communicating out some really important information to parents. But really, our goal this year with communication is to drill down to ensure that parents are getting timely information from advisors, principals, teachers, coaches on events that their students, that their children are participating in. So we'll be working on that throughout the year. Our facilities, we are taking a building by building approach to our facilities this year, really focusing on getting into the details of cleanliness, as well as some cosmetic improvements, starting right now at Suffern Middle School. There is a somewhat substantial list of things that we're working on at the middle school. The middle school is an old building. And for those of you that may pop into the middle school, you're going to see just a more polished look over time. Hallways are going to move away from that really, 1980s lime green paint job to something brighter and airier. That's a process that's taking place, and kudos to our facilities team for really working on that list. And again, we'll be going building to building throughout the course of the year. Technology is another part of our operational improvement plan. We have systems integration work that we're going to be doing so that all of our technology systems integrate with one another. We expect to have a new student information system rolled out in a year. Right now, we are utilizing eSchool and the parent portal. That is all going to be refreshed and much better with regards to the student and staff and parent experience. And then, of course, we're also going to be exploring and talking about the future of our school-issued devices. Are they the right devices? Are we using them correctly? What can we be doing differently? And then finally, in the second priority, we're talking about registration. And really, I should have included on there residency as well. We are streamlining the registration process for students as they come into the district. If they have English language needs, we are testing them in a very expeditious manner so we can make sure that we're placing them in the right types of courses immediately. And we are also ensuring that we're getting the right type of documentation from everyone who is registering for our district. And then that translates over to residency. We are going to be implementing a residency renewal program where we are looking at a couple of services that we can utilize to get a sense and ensure our public that the students who are attending Suffern Central School District are truly residing in the Suffern Central School District boundaries, and more information on that to come. Our third priority there is really with the central work that we do, curriculum and instruction. We've made some significant improvements, as Ms. Weber and her team outlined at the end of last year, with regards to bilingual programming. The board and public will be getting an update on our bilingual programming enhancements this year in one of our future meetings. We have implemented the science of reading in our elementary schools. The CKLA curriculum is in place and teachers are beginning on that work already. Our new schedule that we expect to roll out next year at Suffern Middle School to enhance the student experience and create greater efficiencies is going to be piloted this year. And then, of course, the focus at the high school is truly on what good instruction should look like. And as a result, Dr. Adler and his team have put together the high school portrait of a graduate, really what we're looking for our students who graduate from Suffern High School to achieve. And it's really our North Star where all of our teachers and administrators are working to get our students to those points. And fourth, and then I'll wrap up my comments, is the capital project investigation. Those of you that are on Mountie Minds know that we've been talking about the need to upgrade our aging facilities. Specifically, That work should be focused on the middle school and the high school, which are two of our older buildings that have not had as much work and attention over the years. So we are going to be bringing together a group of folks from the public as well as the school district to take a look at our facilities to see how we can focus particularly on those two schools to update and modernize our instructional spaces, our athletic facilities, and our performance spaces. And those are really the priorities that the board will continue to hear from our administration on throughout the course of the school year. And thus concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you. Ms. Sarah Kern is also shown under 1.10. Are you presenting right now?
Yes, she is.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
If I could just take a moment, because I think I way too aggressively end my superintendent's report there, because technically this is still part of the superintendent's report. So I want to take a moment and thank Ms. Kern for the work that she and her counseling team are doing, along with our principals, on creating this sense of a greater belonging for each and every one of our Suffern Central students. I want to thank you for being here tonight to give the board and the public an overview of this important work that's taking place. So, Ms. Kern, take it away.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gunderson, Board of Education. I'm really excited to be here tonight to speak to you about belonging at Suffern Central. It is probably my favorite task that I am tasked with here at Suffern Central, is really to enhance the feeling of students that they belong here and they are Suffern Mounties. So if we were to begin, I'd like to actually take a step back in time to September of 2023, where we led our staff on the first day of staff development, that day before school, in a yarning activity where groups of teachers who did not know each other, they were separated out totally randomly, engaged in a student-led activity where we had our well-being interns really just talk with them about sharing their stories. And I'm happy to say that this yarning activity has lasted in some classrooms and certainly amongst the well-being interns at the high school. So a quote from Mrs. Rachel Stahlcup, who's a third grade teacher at Montebello. She has used the yarning activity since participating in it on the first day of school last year, and she finds it to be the warmest way to welcome students to get to know each other. And this is my favorite part of her quote. I swear, within minutes, you see kids who were formerly reserved open up and smile, be proud to share their likes, hobbies, families, and characteristics. And she went on in our conversation to tell me at different points during the year, her class actually asked to do the yarning activity again if they were having an issue or something was coming up with current events. So she used it more than once at students' requests. So that is something that really resonates with us and gets to the core of this feeling of belonging. It's very hard to define what it means to feel like you belong. But if you take a look at this picture, this idea of yarn connecting people who, really come from all over, that is what we're trying to get to. We are all Suffern Mounties. We are all connected. Last year in January of 2024, we engaged in a survey through a company called Panorama. And this survey was administered to students to measure their social emotional learning. And that measured their mindsets, behaviors, and attitudes related to success in school. We also did an additional survey of a belonging survey. This was only to students in grades 6 through 12. The language was just a little mature and hard for our elementary school students, so we decided to just stick with 6 through 12. The Panorama survey is aligned with the CASEL framework for social emotional learning, which really is the platform that New York State Education Department espouses when we talk about social emotional learning in school. So it's very connected to the New York State standards. Positive feelings, supportive relationships, self-management, social awareness, challenging feelings, and emotional regulation. I'm not going to read the definitions, but they are on the screen. And again, all aligned with New York State standards. Tonight, for the purposes of this presentation, we're really going to focus on the belonging survey. So in a nutshell, the belonging survey, again, only to grades 6 through 12, asks students how valued they feel as a member of our community. And it asks students these 5 questions. How much respect do students at your school show you? How much do you matter to others at school? How well do people at your school understand you as a person? Overall, how much do you feel like you matter at your school, and how connected do you feel to adults at your school? I should also take a moment to say this survey is translatable into, I think, 50 different languages with the touch of a button. So all of our students whose first language is not English were able to take this in their native language. So when we saw our results, just to talk briefly about the SEL survey, we had varied results by school, depending on topic. The best part of our results is that all students pretty much answered similarly. We could not find any significant difference across any demographic groups, whether it's boys or girls, race, socioeconomic status, or home language. All of our kids basically felt the same way, which was great to see. In all of our schools, we did identify social emotional learning goals. At the high school, that's going to be self-efficacy, and that makes a lot of sense for kids in grades 9 through 12. That's the belief that they can succeed in achieving academic outcomes. So that is something that will be infused through the high school events and curriculum this year. The middle school and all of our elementaries chose to focus on social awareness, and that is how well students consider the perspectives of others and empathize with them. And at each school, there is a team of people and with an administrator leading the charge that I've been working with to go over these results and choose these goals. So they're not given to each school chose them. I find it very lovely and makes my job a lot easier that 5 schools all chose the same one. So that was great. In terms of the belonging survey, the middle school and the high school had virtually the same result. About half of our students had a positive view of belonging. And so you say half, that's like, okay. But that didn't necessarily satisfy us as a district. We could be better than that. We need to be better than that. But again, a good thing to note is that students responded similarly across all demographic groups. And I hold on to that because I think if we had looked at those results and found one particular group felt especially alienated, I feel like that would be a stain on us. You know, we really have to look at that and dig deeper, but that was not the case. Again, all students rated the school and this environment the same across all categories, which I feel is a really good thing and a great platform or starting point to do this work. So all schools in Suffern Central have made belonging one of their goals, and I've been working with each of the levels to really incorporate some systems and events and learning to support what belonging looks like in each of our schools. So we'll start with the expert lens, and this picture is intentional. It's not just because Dr. Gunderson's my boss, but this idea of an adult kind of swooping in and taking a picture with students, that's an intangible thing that helps students feel like they belong, right? I don't know that Dr. Gunderson knows any of those students personally, do you?
Putting me on the spot here.
I am.
I know of them. I've recognized them, but I'm not interacting with them on a frequent basis.
Right. They're not your friends or neighbors.
Definitely not.
Okay. But Dr. Gunderson comes in, he is a friendly face, and he engages with the students who are right around him. That's an intangible piece that makes kids feel like they belong. A grown-up is paying attention to me, and she's in a suit on the first day of school. This makes you feel like seen and heard. So I want to talk a little bit about why belonging is important. There is a host of research that's been developed by CASEL. Remember, those are the social emotional learning people that New York State based their curriculum on, and Panorama, the company that we purchased the survey from. But I felt like that would be cheating if I used their research, because obviously they're in the game. So I did a little bit of a deep dive. And if you're looking at the Learning Lab at MIT, forefront of American education, a student's sense of belonging improves academic outcomes, increases continuing enrollment, and is protective in mental health. And then we have Michael Foreman, who is a professor at Stanford University, again, another paragon of learning in the United States. And his research really focuses on middle school and high school and how the lack of belonging causes worse attendance, lower grades, and disciplinary problems. So there's a breadth of research out there that supports why belonging and feeling like you belong in school helps with your academic outcomes. And then if we are going to just take it a little bit more personally, here in Suffern, we have an increasing number of students from diverse backgrounds. We have an increase in the linguistic diversity of our students, and we have a restructured elementary experience that connects students in different ways. They're not necessarily going to school just with their neighbors from their neighborhood. And so that all lends itself to doing some work to connecting people who might not have been connected prior. I think it also, we have to say, if having a strong sense of belonging is a best practice, I've been at Suffern Central over 20 years. We like to do things that are the best for our students. So if it's the best practice, we need to be doing that. And we need to be leading the charge in Rockland and in New York State, really focusing on this and making this school district a place where all kids really feel like they belong. It's just the right thing to do. And that's what we do here in Suffern. So our plans, very, very excited about our furry friend on the left. I know some people have been confusing our furry friend with a mascot. This is actually not a mascot. This is a mini Mountie who is a character in our social emotional learning program in the K-1-2 buildings. You might have seen online, we had an opportunity for people to give us some suggestions on the name for the mini Mountie. We do have one chosen, but I was going to unveil it tonight, but we would like to speak to the students who recommended it to us first. So you'll have to keep an eye on Instagram for that. That's coming soon. But at our elementary school, we have a new social emotional learning curriculum that our counselors spent this summer making. It really takes the best of the ruler program, the LEI program, but puts a Suffern spin on it, thinking about our goals of belonging and social awareness. Kind of like we spoke about in previous years, how PBL is now a guaranteed experience in some levels. We now have a guaranteed experience of 20 social emotional learning lessons in every K-5 classroom. So thank you to the Board of Ed and to the public for approving our budget, where we did expand our school counseling staff. And then you're going to see the last bullet on every slide. And it's really this year, we have a beautiful collaboration between school counselors, social workers, school psychologists, student assistance counselors, our family resource coordinators, and our community liaison to coordinate services for our students and families. We spent that keeps everybody protected and warm. And that's been a wonderful experience so far this summer. And we're really excited for new programming to be coming out of those offices. At the middle school, I'm working with the middle school administration to see how the Leader in Me curriculum, how there's a convergence between that and our belonging goal. The middle school has done a great job rolling out Leader in Me authentically. They really do that program exactly the way the Leader in Me people say it should be done. And so we want to be able to highlight and lean into Leader in Me to enhance belonging and social awareness for our students. This year, you'll see an increased presence of school counselors in 6 through 8 classrooms. We are going to introduce targeted group counseling by our social workers, working with the Panorama Wellness team at the middle school, again, to come up with some new events and things that will really support belonging. So that is something we're in the process of working on, trying to get a little bit of social emotional learning, a little bit of well-being in every classroom for one moment every single day is a goal of ours. And then at the high school, I'm really excited to talk about our phys ed department. I've long believed that phys ed is an untapped resource in Suffern. There are phenomenal physical education teachers who know every single student in the building. It doesn't matter if they're students with learning challenges, students who speak different languages, or someone in the top of the class who gets straight A's with ease. They all take phys ed, and for the most part, they really like their phys ed teachers. So we are partnering with the phys ed department. They are actually starting doing some belonging work tomorrow. They'll be doing a little pre-survey with kids, and then over the next 5 or 6 weeks, they'll be leading students in grades 9 through 12 in a conversation about belonging, and then we'll take a look at our results and kind of formulate some plans from there. This all leads up to the JCK Foundation coming in. They're doing a presentation to our 9th graders. They'll also come in at the end of the year to talk to 12th graders, but for now, focusing on freshmen. And again, like the middle school, targeted group counseling by our social workers, working with the Panorama and the wellness team, and then that collaboration of different staff members. But really, this is the cherry on top of the belonging Sunday. You may or may not be aware that we have a group of students, about 20 to 30 at the high school, called Wellbeing Interns. They are the students who led the yarning activity last year. They were instrumental in the One Suffern Day. Most of the volunteers either came from Avid or were Wellbeing Interns. They spread some holiday cheer, some winter cheer in the middle of the year by giving stickers to elementary school students. And we spent the year talking about what it means to be a Suffern Mountie. How do you feel you belong? Where are our gaps? What do we need to do? It's a phenomenal group of students. These are kids that came in over the summer just to meet and talk about this. That speaks for itself in terms of commitment. And over the course of this summer, between conversations with administrators, conversations with counselors, a plan started to form. So we are going to expand the role of interns. So for us, we're getting new recruits at Suffern High School. We did recruitment, Talaja can speak to it, at the grade level assemblies to get some more students, because we need some more. Especially, we are creating a Spanish-speaking cohort of high school interns that will be led by Mrs. Engelman, who is a second-year counselor at the high school who is bilingual. I'm so happy to say we have 108 students who gave the initial nod that they are interested in the program, and 50 of them are Spanish speaking. So we are very, very excited about that. Thanks. I heard some applause. And then, and this is where it gets really, really great. Our goal and our new model for elementary really lends itself to this. We are going to have wellbeing interns from grades 3 to 12. High school kids will be going to the middle school. We will then have a middle school cohort of wellbeing interns that go to the 3 to 5 buildings. And then in each 3 to 5 building, they will have their own cohort of wellbeing interns that will go down to the K-1-2 buildings. And I think what makes this the most special, and something we've never seen here in Suffern, is that our students are collaborating with our administrators. So our plan is for our high school wellbeing interns to meet with middle school administrators telling them what are these intangible things we need our kids to know, and then the high school kids coming back to the high school and designing the program. And the same goes for middle to 3 to 5 and 3 to 5 to K-1-2. And all of it will culminate in a student summit in the spring, April and May, date to be determined, where the kids in grades 3 through 12 are presenting to each other the work that they did, doing some team building and reflecting on the year and coming up with the things that worked really well, or maybe the things that we need to do better. So we're very excited about this, and I know so are our principals, especially our elementary ones. The K-1-2 principals love that they're going to have some older kids come into their building, and the 3 through 5 principals are so excited to have a group of leaders. So we're really, really excited about that. So I spoke very quickly. I'm very passionate about this topic, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Wonderful. You must all feel like you belong, and we covered all parts of the topic. So if you need anything, you know where I am, and there'll be more to come soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Ms. Kern, I want to thank you very much for the great presentation. That's why when I listed the 4 priorities there, I said hardly anything about belonging, because I knew that you were really going to speak with passion. You're very enthusiastic about this, and you're showing some great leadership in the district as you move this initiative forward. So thank you so much for the great overview tonight. Thus concludes my superintendent's report.
All right, thank you. And thank you so much, Mrs. Kern. That was wonderful. Really glad to hear about all the ways students are helping each other prepare for what to expect as they move on through their schools and their grades. All right, now moving on to our second of 3 public participation sections. This is public participation on action items only. And those are on our agenda tonight from 2.01 through 2.08. Is there anyone who is here to speak on an action item? Okay, there are none. Before I ask for a consent agenda, are there any items that any board member would like to pull?
I would like to pull a couple.
Yes.
I need to pull 2.02, but most specifically number 8, Roman numeral 8 only, and 2.08, please.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda on 2.01 and 2.03 through 2.07.
Moved.
Mr. Kern, second. Is there any discussion? Civil Service Personnel Report? No? Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to approve 2.02? Do you wait for a motion to bring it up? Oh, okay.
Moved.
Moved. All right. Second. Thank you. Oh, all right. Thank you for that. Okay. Any discussion? No. All right. Okay. Discussion on this matter is closed then. Do I have a motion to approve 2.02? Did I do this wrong? Okay. All in favor of approving 2.02?
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
I think,
Okay. Thank you.
but it doesn't matter, but just the number 8.
Just in that one item. Okay, thank you. All right, and now 2.08. Do I have a motion to open this up for discussion?
Moved.
Okay, Mr. Kern, second. Dr. Nickon? Okay. All right, discussion on 2.08. No? Nothing? Okay. All right. We're going to close discussion on that matter. Actually, before we close discussion, I do want to say that the board has been working very diligently with Dr. Gunderson and other administrators in the district on policies. The dress code in particular there's been a lot of discussion for that, and we're working on it. But there are a number of other policies contained in the section that need to be approved as well. So this matter is on for its second reading. And is there a motion? No, is there a vote? Sorry, thank you. Let's vote on 2.08. Who votes to approve 2.08?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anyone opposed? You're opposed. Okay. And any abstentions? Okay. Thank you. All right. Jennifer Hodges opposed. All right. Then we are moving on to board member comments, 6.01. Are there any board member comments? No? Okay. All right. Very good. I have some comments. I just want to say the district has been doing a lot with regard to communication. That's always been a subject that people bring up to us. And I want to point out that there's a newly revised website that everyone should take a look at if you have the opportunity. Even if you're not really looking for anything in particular, it's good to get familiar with it when you do need information. As Dr. Gunderson mentioned already, the district has put out a district emergency information guide for families in the district, and it's very brief. It explains everything very well to what to expect if there's an emergency, which hopefully there won't be. So please, everyone, take a look at it and keep it handy. And also tonight, we have a new Excelsior to start off the year. So I think maybe there were some extra copies. There's some extra copies next to Mrs. Weber over there. So everyone, please take a look at it. This is always a good way to find out information about what's happening in the district, what's upcoming, and maybe you'll see some nice pictures of your kids. Okay, so that concludes board member comments. We are now moving on to our third public participation section. Just for me to get an idea for timing, is there anyone who's planning to speak tonight on any district-related business? Anyone? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. I won't hold you to it. I just wanted to get like a ballpark idea. All right. So for public participation, please do not mention anyone in the district by name, any student. Please do not speak as to any personal matter regarding your own child or any individual district personnel. Please keep your remarks to 3 minutes if you can. I'll let you know when we're getting to the 3-minute mark so you can wrap it up. And this is on any district-related business. Anyone who wants to speak, please approach the podium over there.
Hi, my name is Dawn Christensen. This is totally impromptu and spurred by what Mrs. Kern brought to the table about belonging. So that is such a core need. I think adults and children at large, the need to feel seen and accepted. I just looked up the meaning. Belonging is a feeling of security and support where there is a sense of acceptance, inclusion, and identity for a member of a certain group. It is when an individual can feel safe to bring their authentic self. So I just wanted to highlight the need for special education students to be a part of that picture. And that sense of some of the practices can often make a child feel othered, taking them out and their learning differences, making them feel separate. So I would love some of the focus of the belonging to really include the children who may learn differently, because even in the word learning differently, learning differences makes them feel different. So the question is, how do we really foster a community that needs to feel like they belong, just inherently, that they learn differently and their needs need to be met in a different way. I also wanted to bring to the highlight, I don't know, it's not a mascot, but that Mountie, it would be awesome to see, like, does this Mountie and bringing sensory differences or learning differences so that other children can relate. Maybe they don't have that, but they can understand at another level what it is for a child to deal with that. And there's a wonderful speaker, Jordan Toma, and he really speaks of the IEP 504 kids and how to get the populace at large to understand what it's like to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. And I thought, well, why wouldn't well-being interns include kids with special needs and special education? And the last note I had, and I know that we'll speak on this in the future, but those support teams of the psychologists and the counselors within the special education in particular, school avoidance is a very pressing problem. And I really would urge that to be looked at cohesively with the support teams. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Fred Smith. I live in the district, and just want to say my child just started going to Cherry Lane. She was a Connor transplant, and she's doing good, and she's happy. She likes it there, loves the teachers. Everything's great. Second, it's good to hear you doing what you're doing with the ESL students. I think that's great. I don't speak Spanish, but I think that's good, to help kids who don't. Third, all due respect though, this is my second year. I've never come up here and talked before, but it's a little concerning with the busing. We live on a block that has a lot of people that live there, don't live there, get on the bus, whatever. My kids go on to Cherry Lane. Today, it took her 40 minutes to get home. That's unacceptable. I take the train every day, New Jersey Transit. Everyone knows that's horrible, but it's 40 minutes to get to the city. It's not 40 minutes to get from Cherry Lane to my house when it's only a mile and a half. So, my wife's rushing from work to get her to go to my other kids, like sport, grab her to go there. We can't do that. 40 minutes is not acceptable. So I'm standing here today telling you that she can't be on the bus for 40 minutes. You have the mood meter, you have all that. In school, she's perfectly fine, but when she gets on that bus, it's draining her when she gets home. And again, I don't know what has to be done, or we call the new lady who handles the busing. I forget her name, but my wife handles all that stuff. I don't handle this stuff, and she's probably dying that I'm talking, and she's not here, but it's not, I can't have my kid, a fifth grader, on the bus for 40 minutes, and Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Ari Abramowitz. I'm in this district, grew up here. Just wanted to bring up a few points just quickly. Last year we discussed about the security in the school district. And one thing that was just very concerning that most people don't even recognize is the school signs that say, you know, congratulations to my child, and there's a big picture of them. Just something they should be aware of as security. You just go by every house, like, okay, I know how many kids are in this house, when they're finishing, what grades they are, and people don't realize that. But with the changing of the world, I just really feel bad seeing that by every house, and it's showing beautiful pictures of families, and you're like, this should not be shown outside to the public world out there. Just something I think should just be noted for the safety of everyone. That was the first thing. Second thing was, my kids go to private school. We live on a dead end and right by Cat Park. And we spoke to the transportation district, we brought this up last year, the previous year as well. There's a rule that the buses can't stop by a dead end or even right next to it by the end of the block. And we brought this up numerous times. There's no one around. There's no one except for people walking and bears and animals. And we brought it up to the district, and the drivers are like, I'm sorry, it's going to take a month and a half to 2 months to even answer you. And I'm not available. I work with EMS as well. I'm not in town. And these are just important things. And my wife has 3 kids at home. So we're running back and forth. I'm trying to be able to be there. And again, growing up also in the East Ramapo district, my kids there's only one bus for 3 different dismissals. And my kid has to go home now an hour early because there's only one bus from Suffern Central. So this is an important piece. And the last thing is that my son, again, this is something that's being hopefully worked on, is there's only 2 kids in his class. They go to school in New City, but there's only one bus. There's no bus for him in Suffern Central District, which we brought up numerous times. So the transportation issues just want to bring up again. But thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Sorry for the inconvenience of interrupting the meeting.
Hi, my name is Miriam Rosenberg. I live in the district. I'm actually embarrassed having sat through the meeting and being aware, looking at the agenda, the really important things that you're dealing with educationally, administratively, that I'm coming here and I'm speaking to intelligent, normal people, and I have to ask why the bus comes, and I'm not the only one. I've spoken to 4 or 5 people and my neighbors, why when you live on a cul-de-sac, you walk 600 feet to a corner, your kid gets picked up, and the bus comes right back up, passes your house, and goes right back down and out. I follow the bus, or the bus follows me. And just to give context, this is the first year that this is even applicable. I have other kids in other schools, and I've never requested a house stop. I understand there were other places for the bus to turn around at that time. There were other children on the bus. I happen to live in an area with 3 cul-de-sacs, so it has to turn somewhere. It almost seems spiteful. We're going to pick you up. We're going to pass your house, but you can't get on the bus. You have to come down. So it was gorgeous today. Stunning weather. My son's 14. Doesn't matter that it's 7:25 in the morning. He can walk down the hill. But the weather doesn't stay 65 degrees all year. And I called the district, the transportation office. I spoke to the drivers. I even spoke to, on day 3, it's so important that the drivers don't drive up 3 quiet cul-de-sacs, 2 have people living on them and 1 doesn't. It's so important that they had a safety officer following the buses to make sure that they weren't going to pick up any kids at their houses when they belong 600 feet down on a corner. So I went to speak to him, and he said to me, well, I was a driver, and if it was me, I would do it. but they're checking GPS. The transportation office has the time to sit and check the GPS to make sure that a child doesn't get on in a complete, it's actually safer up in a cul-de-sac that they're coming to anyway, where there is no traffic except for the 3 or 4 people who live there. It's not like it's a busy area. Whereas on the corner, there are people coming in and out, turning and, going to their homes. So it doesn't make sense. I called the bus company and they told me, Chestnut Ridge in Hilburn, I called them and he said, well, it's a safety issue. We had a bus that stopped in the wrong place on Airmont Road and a kid got hit. Now,
Mrs. Rosenberg,
yes.
you're approaching 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. If we can't trust our drivers to make good, safe decisions for our children, meaning we can't let them come up because it's unsafe, then we shouldn't be trusting them at all. Airmont Road is not a cul-de-sac and it can't. And we also know that, I'll be very quick, that there was an audit and the audit said that the house stops, lack of house stops, whatever, was arbitrary. So it would be very helpful because I've called whoever I could think to call and now I came here, that if a bus is anyway coming into the cul-de-sac, that they should please pick up the children. And one last thing, on my other kids' buses, there's a 6-year-old. So that kid's not walking down herself. Not my street, a different street. And it doesn't make sense. And anyone you talk to will tell you it doesn't make sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Other speakers?
Hi, my name's Alexandria Bowens. I've spoken before last year regarding concerns about the redistricting of the elementary school. And my grandson, who I'm the guardian of, is in a foundations classroom. As a result, he was moved from Cherry Lane to Montebello. He's a 5th grader and he's loving it, I have to say. It's been a wonderful experience, but we did have a bus incident. But it also ties into the belong theme. Noah, who typically got onto a small bus and went to Cherry Lane, while his counterparts and cousins got on a big bus and went to Montebello, on the second day, announced he was not getting on a small bus anymore. He wanted to be like his cousin and the other children on a big bus. And I actually got called from Montebello to come because Noah was standing in the parking lot by a tree announcing he was not going to get onto a small bus. Well, the school consoled him, made him feel very comfortable. When I arrived there, Dr. Ivy was there and greeted me. And she's like, don't worry, we'll figure this out. I've already spoke to Joan McDonough. We'll see what we can do. So I drove Noah home. The next morning, between us, I put him on the big bus because they don't check when you get on a big bus. But then I immediately came over here to the district office and spoke to the person who was, I guess, the secretary in the office, and explained to them what the situation was, explained, that this was an emotional trauma for him. He was very distraught over it. Noah has a medical condition, but it's not one that's would prevent him from riding on a regular school bus. So I was able to get a letter from his doctor and have it back here to the district office so that by the time he came home on the 3rd day, he was on the big bus. So I guess all I'm trying to say is that Noah needed to feel like he belonged. He felt different. When he was going to Cherry Lane, he didn't see the comparison, but it was dramatic for him, the comparison. But everyone was more than helpful, and we got it resolved. So I want to thank everyone, and he is very happy at Montebello. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Hello, good evening. First, I would like to thank. What?
What's your name, sir?
My name is Sina Halberstam, if you don't know it by now.
We know.
I'd like really to thank Dr. Gunderson President Marlowe, and all the board members and the entire Suffern School District for making a great effort this year, including Dr. I forgot your name, Billy Castellan, and everyone here, and also Bill Weber, Senator Bill Weber, and Assembly Carl Brabenek for helping to get understanding for the same. It wasn't even more expensive to get over 400 kids to have the right bell time coming and going. There's still some challenges. I will not mention it here. We'll do it somewhere in private, but I really appreciate the work that has been done. I know it's not easy. There's been a lot of problems this year with the cards, and continue with this mistake and that mistake. It's a lot to go on, but this was a great accomplishment, and I really look forward to work together with the board and the transportation to get all other issues there are to get resolved. But again, I want to thank you, all of them, that I really feel that this year the extra effort was made to see that as more kids who can satisfy to get on the bus, and they should be able to get transportation so the parents could go to work or do whatever they got to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Therese Dalala. I live in the district. I have some notes. I'm sorry if I'm a little jumbled. So I have 2 at Connor and I have 2 at Cherry Lane. They just transferred to Cherry Lane this year. I actually live on pretty much the same neighborhood as Fred, who spoke before. Our children are actually on the same bus. So a few things I might be saying may be new for Fred to hear. The main issue that we're facing is the timing. So I have 2 in UPK at Connor. Dr. Gunderson and I have emailed back and forth several times. There's been issues with UPK. The timing has been resolved. But now I have to drop my 2 at UPK at Connor at 8:30 and my 2 get on the bus at 8:28. The problem is the buses come at 8:45, 8:31, 8:22. One day it came at 8:20 and just drove right past my house. It didn't even stop. So I had to drive the children. So I have an issue there where I can't get my little ones to school on time because I'm waiting for the older ones, and I will not leave them at the bus stop by myself, and my husband works. That's one concern that I have. Secondly, my children have informed me they're on a small bus, which is fine. They don't have any issue with that whatsoever. But the concerns that they're having is that they're putting 3 children in 2 seats. So now each seat is a 2-seater, and some of the seats on the bus are 1-seaters. They're putting 2 children in 1-seaters height. What we have is Cherry Lane, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. You have 3 children in a 2-seater, to the point that my children, and I'm sure Fred's children now, are sitting sideways and their legs are in the aisle because they can't fit in the seat. That's a major concern for me. That's a major safety issue. And frankly, it feels illegal to me that we're able to do this, that you're able to just put so many children on a bus and not care that you can't even get down the aisle safely. I'm sorry, I'm a little jumbled. I've spoken to a couple of the principals. They said, well, we were told to put 3 children in a seat. I've spoken to 2 principals in the district about this so far. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I also looked up the type of bus that we have. From what I can gather, it's a type A bus. This seats 10 to 16 comfortably. There's 20 children on my kid's bus right now, 20. And speaking with the bus drivers, we've had 3 separate bus drivers in 5 days. I've had 1 man pick up, 1 man drop off, and we've already had a substitute. My children don't feel safe yet. They don't feel comfortable. They don't know who's coming to pick them up or bring them home, and they don't know when.
Ma'am, you're approaching 3 minutes.
I understand that. Thank you. And I will try to be fist. My biggest concern, I spoke a couple of times last year at the board meetings, was safety and my children's mental and emotional well-being. They are not comfortable getting on this bus. They are scared to get on the bus. They don't know what time they're going to get home. And like I said, you said today was the best day that we've had yet. I beg to disagree because my children's bus is due home at 3:31, according to the mailer. They got home at 4:23 today. That's not okay. Today was the worst day yet for us. And before that, 4:08, 3:51, 3:50, and 4 o'clock. My mailer says 3:31. I'm home waiting for them. I don't know where my children are. I'm here because I'm concerned. I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to have to drive my children. I pay the school taxes. I want them on the buses. Something else has to be done. I cannot sit here and let my child ride for 43 minutes, like Fred said, and I'm going to touch on that. The kids come home irritated. They come upset. They're squished in a seat. They're not happy. They're not building those relationships that they typically build on buses with friends because they're agitated. We have 20 children on a bus that's supposed to sit 10 to 16. So either I need a larger bus coming or I need an additional bus coming, but either way it has to be figured out. And also, who's our bus driver? How am I supposed to build a rapport with these people when I don't know who they are? 5 and 10, some of those kids. I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but that's true. The last bus pulled in at 11 o'clock. You say there's no surprise that we have issues, but I'm very surprised because for a year, I listened to all of you, well, most of you say, oh, we're going to figure it out. We're going to work it out. It's going to work itself out. Everything's going to be good. Just trust us. But now here we are. I can't trust and I'm not comfortable. And I need to know what else is going to be done besides just an email saying we're working on it.
Ma'am,
Yes.
would you like to speak with Dr. Gunderson maybe after the meeting? It sounds like
we've
you do
actually
have a lot
spoken-
of concerns.
We've actually spoken about 4 or 5 times in the last few days. I've been emailing him. I can wrap it up there. That's fine. I just wanted to say that we are very concerned and there's a lot going on with the busing and we have to do better. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers tonight?
Hi, good evening. I'm Teresa Bitterman Jaggard. I have a kindergartner that just started in Sloatsburg last week. I just wanted to get up and kind of echo what you're saying about the busing. I don't have the same exact concerns as you. However, what I do have a concern about is many kindergartners on a bus with maybe a first grader, a couple of first graders sprinkled in, a second grader, and no other adult on that bus. If there is, God forbid, an accident, which one of those children that's riding the bus for the very first time is going to open an emergency exit? Or the first grader, or 2 or 3 first graders on that bus, or second grader, which one of them is going to have the strength to open the emergency exit in the back or the windows? Some of them, most of them probably can't even reach those exits, nor are they trained at this point to do that. On top of that, multiple incidents where, there's kids getting off the bus driver doesn't know who's getting off the bus, doesn't know what parent or adult is supposed to be there. My recollection is that we received paperwork from the district insisting that there is an adult there getting those children off the bus. But if the driver doesn't know who that adult is, that's a problem. Any kid can get off the bus, any adult, any person. Okay, I think I have 3 kids off the bus and I have 3 adults that are standing there. What if they're all 3 adults from one family? And now you have 2 kids standing there and they have no idea. The bus takes off. You have no idea where those kids are supposed to go in every day. That makes us as parents fearful of putting our small children on the bus, even to go for a 3-minute ride. That's literally all it takes from my house to Sloatsburg Elementary School. And my daughter is on the bus sometimes 25, 30 minutes just to get home from a 3-minute ride. That to me is crazy. And like others have said here, we have to do better. We have to do better for the safety of our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers?
Hi, good evening. My name is Herschel Horowitz. I live on Copeland Drive, and I just put up my kindergarten boy on the bus, and he doesn't want to go on the bus anymore because the bus comes late, or it brings him home from school an hour late, and he's very frightened. And also, they drop him off on the Route 202. That's a highway. That's 55 speed limit highway. And I have a month-old baby, and my wife can't stand over there. So something has to be done. Like she said, a lot of things that's concerned about that also. And it's my second child putting on the bus. Some bus drivers are nice, but Often they have different bus drivers, so they don't know where to go off. So we have to do better. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
I am Joe Delala. It's my wife. I just wanted to add to her point earlier. Not only are the children on a small bus and being crammed in, but they've told us on a couple of occasions they have had a monitor on the bus who has taken up a seat entirely to herself along with her bags. So there's one whole seat being reserved for the monitor who, as this other woman spoke about, I would prefer to have on the bus for safety reasons. But if the bus is that small and they're already being crammed in, to lose an entire seat for 20 kids, creates a comfortability issue at the very least. So I just wanted to add that in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is William Arroyo. It's our second year in the district. Last year was phenomenal. We had a good experience. This year, I have an 11-year-old who's going to Suffern Middle School, and they have her bus stop right on Eagle Valley and Orange Turnpike. It's a very busy intersection, 4 lanes. Cars fly through that light all the time. God forbid one of those kids get hit or someone gets abducted. You have kids staying on the corner for about 45 minutes waiting for a bus that they don't know if it's going to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your comments tonight. We are now going to move on to 8.01, Superintendent's closing comments.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank all of you who came and spoke on a wide variety of issues. Obviously, most of us are focused in these first days of school on the transportation challenges that we're facing. And I appreciate everyone's patience. I understand that I don't expect you to be patient and not to be frustrated. Your concerns are valid. And I know that a couple of the people who spoke here this evening have emailed me or spoken to me directly. And I can assure you that I respond to your emails and I follow up with our transportation department, and we are working to rectify those issues. And again, wish we could do that faster, but day by day, we are making improvements. Perhaps there was a bus route or two today that may have had its worst day ever, but systemically, we are looking at transportation improving substantially over these last 5 days. We are transporting, admittedly, 1,600 elementary school students to new schools. So they are all new routes. As I mentioned earlier, some of our challenges that we're facing with dismissal have been logistical challenges that we've had in our buildings. And so we have become more efficient at dismissing students onto their buses to minimize those delays. I can assure you that a couple of you mentioned and made some pretty significant statements with regards to safety issues. We'll be following up on those this evening and tomorrow morning. We will take those seriously to make sure that we can ensure that all of our students are traveling safely on our school buses. Any of you that spoke this evening that have not spoken to me directly, I'll be reaching out to you via email to get some additional information. But of course, you're always welcome to email me, egunderson@sufferncentral.org, and we will follow up on those challenges. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out this evening to speak on a wide variety of topics, including what we are, of course, very excited about and we wish we could focus solely on, which is the work that Ms. Kern was talking about, as well as our other educational initiatives. I want to remind everyone that we mentioned the Excelsior with some opening of school information. Some of you may be saying, well, I don't have a copy, and that's true because it's most likely in the mail. You should be getting it sometime in your mail this week.
All right, thank you, everyone. Our next meeting is September 24th, right back here in Hilburn. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Mr. Kern, second? Mr. Shapiro, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone tonight. See you back here on the 24th.
Happy birthday, I never did. It's actually